Hey folks, it's your favorite Canadian info wrangler here. One more week through the power of the interwebs coming at ya. And today we're going to do something that's not technically within Thunder Bay city limits, but it is within the old map of the Thunder Bay area. And that place is Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park. As you can see in the title, it's spelled with an O-U-I, but it's pronounced oui, like the French oui, which means yes in French, right? So here we are heading out, just leaving the house, and I'm going to go pick up my buddy Steve along the way. And he didn't get in front of the camera at all this time like he did at Kakabeka. So we're going to take a drive. I'm not going to show you the entire drive because it's like an hour drive, and obviously you don't want to see all of that. But I am going to read you some facts about the park that I dug up on the interwebs. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park is a day-use park located in Ontario, Canada, approximately 60 kilometers east of Thunder Bay. Established as a provincial park in 1972, it is designated as a nature reserve to preserve its delicate ecosystem. The park does not offer overnight camping, but attracts visitors year-round, especially from May to October, due to its dramatic views and rare flora. Yeah, It's not the Grand Canyon, but, you know, as a canyon goes, it's got a good size to it. And there's some boards at the observation area there. You'll see them on the video when we get there, but I don't know if my hand was steady enough that you could pause and read them. But one of the things that's mentioned on the boards is that there are certain flowers, plants, found at the base of the Grand Canyon, or Ouimet Canyon, that only grow in Antarctica and there. That Antarctica is the only other place they're found. If I remember reading that correctly, I didn't read it today. So it's been about 10 years since I read it. That's about how long it's been since I've been out there. And believe me, my feet were telling me that the trail is a lot longer today than it was 10 years ago. I think they've modified that trail to make it more wheelchair accessible, so it's not quite as steep a trail. Because I did not have to walk that far to get there the last time I was there with another Steve. Anyway, the main attraction of the park is the Ouimet Canyon, a 150-meter wide gorge with sheer cliffs that drop 100 meters straight down to the canyon floor. When you see it on the video when I get there, the camera doesn't do it justice. It's a lot farther down than it looks on camera. Visitors can explore a 1-kilometer loop trail that connects 2 lookout platforms, offering spectacular views of the canyon. Now, I didn't know that there was 2 lookout platforms, so I only went to the one. So I guess I missed that today. The trail includes a boardwalk and is generally easy to navigate, making it suitable for most visitors, though it is not accessible for those with mobility challenges. At the park, there is an area where it says this side, this trail is wheelchair accessible, this trail is not. If you go to the left, it is. You go to the right, it's not. But just the first part of the trail leading from the parking lot to the boardwalk was definitely not wheelchair accessible. There's lots of big rocks sticking out of the ground and pieces of wood sticking out of the ground. And, you know, once you get to the boardwalk, then it would probably be accessible for one of those power chairs with big wheels in the middle and the 2 smaller sets of wheels front and back. It might be suitable for one of those, but if you were in a manual chair, you're going to need the upper body strength of Rick Hansen to do it. So it is generally not accessible for those with mobility challenges. Bird watching is popular at Ouimet Canyon, as the raised boardwalk trail allows visitors to observe neotropical migrants and year-round residents of the boreal forest. Additionally, the park features a large rock column known as the Indian Head, visible from the northern viewing area. Now, that has been changed most likely for what's the term, politically correctness, because I remember 10 years ago going there, and I'm pretty sure it was called the Maidenhead or the Indian Princess or something that was a little more racial, as I recall. So I guess they've changed that. To reach the park, visitors often need to unhitch any towing vehicles due to the steep uphill drive from the parking lot to the entrance. Yes, you'll see that on this video as well. There is a pretty steep pull there where you wouldn't want to be towing a trailer. It might be difficult for RVs even. So keep that in mind. If this is a place you want to check out, it might be better if you're a tourist. It might be better if you rent a car or something like that for the day. The park charges a $2 fee per person collected via a self-service box upon entry. It's totally honor system. Park staff don't get out there very often, so you're probably okay to not pay if you so choose to go that route. I'm not advising that, of course. The $2 is a minimal fee, and it's a donation that goes towards the maintenance of the park. So it is advisable to do that. But I'm just saying, if you were of the mind not to, you're probably not going to get caught. For those planning a visit, it is advisable to check the park's seasonal closure status due to weather conditions and to allow extra time for the uphill journey, especially for larger vehicles like RVs or trailers. So that was what AI gave me when I just did a search for Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's the Arctic Circle that those plants are found in, because it says here Arctic plants usually found 1,000 kilometers north survive in the unique environment at the bottom of the canyon. So maybe it's the Arctic Circle that they're in, not Antarctica. Because really, how would anybody know that? Antarctica is off limits, right? So, anyway, yeah. That's what it says here, so it's probably the Arctic Circle where those plants are found. Lake Superior Circle Tour.info. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park, located in Dorian Township in Ontario's Superior Country region, was originated as of 1972 and is known for its 150-meter wide gorge. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park is on the northern shores of Lake Superior along Highway 17. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park features a trail and boardwalk that connects two lookout platforms to view the canyon. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park is open May to October and is a day-use park with no camping available in the park. Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park is very close to Eagle Canyon, home to Canada's longest zip line, Wolf River Campground, and approximately halfway between Nipigon and Thunder Bay. The one thing they don't mention here about Eagle Canyon is that Eagle Canyon apparently, let's see if it's mentioned here. Eagle Canyon Suspension Bridge is Canada's longest, spanning 600 feet. So, there you go. Longest suspension bridge in Canada. It's only a foot bridge, obviously, not a vehicle bridge. But it stretches across Ouimet Canyon. There isn't a second canyon called Eagle Canyon. Eagle Canyon Adventures is a business name. And it's a zip line that spans across Ouimet Canyon. It's gorge. So, I think that's enough talking from me. I've been babbling for, 10 or 11 minutes here anyway. So, I'm going to turn you over to Gary for more of the drive. And like I said, don't worry, you're not going to be subjected to the entire drive. so we're back. I saved you from the majority of the drive. We stopped at the Flying J to top up the gas because I wasn't sure how much I was going to burn going out there, the ridgeline. It's one of the downsides that I pointed out in my ridgeline video is that it has a small gas tank. So you can't go too far on one. However, I was only just below 3/4 of a tank. I filled up at the Flying J, and we went to Ouimet Canyon and almost all the way back to Thunder Bay before my needle even moved. I think I had about 95 kilometers on the odometer, on the trip meter, before my needle started to move from full. So that's pretty good. So here we are getting back out on the highway. There's some construction going on because they're still trying to twin the rest of the highway. So there's a few construction zones that we wind up going through on the way to Ouimet Canyon. But other than that, it was an uneventful drive, and I don't think there was anything that I would want to point out to you on the drive, so I think I'm going to give you back to Gary. Yeah, so here we are again. We are now on Ouimet Canyon Road and well on our way to Ouimet Canyon. It's not a very long drive from here. It's, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. But again, I didn't expose you to the whole drive. It's only going to be part of the drive. I'm not sure how long I went on this one. But see, part of the problem, and it's not really a problem, but it is a problem. This will make sense in a moment here. I'm shooting on an iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro Max to be exact. And that's a good thing because it's got great specs for video and still photography. But the problem is, being such a compact design, being a phone, the battery heats up pretty quick. So I only shoot about 10, maybe 15 minutes of video, and then I usually, put the phone into sleep mode to let the battery cool down a bit. And we just went past the turnoff for Eagle Canyon Adventures, so we're not much further to Ouimet Canyon. And with that, I'll turn you back over to Gary again. Folksicus. That's Latin for folks. Here we are now. We are getting into the nitty-gritty. We're in the parking lot of the Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park, and they got some boards up here that have been here for umpteen years, just talking about things in the region to explore, things to see and do. See, there's a reflection of Steve behind me there. And then there's this board here, Explore Ouimet Canyon Provincial Park. And it's got a map of the entire park there and the hiking trails and etc., etc. And off we go down the trail, down the path to our doom. Doom. There's nothing down that path but doom. Failure and doom, because nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. That's our chief ally, is fear. Fear and surprise. Anyway, so yeah, here we go down the trail. This little fork of the trail, it's somebody, looks like somebody broke the barrier, but it's actually just for provincial parks ATVs. ATVs owned by provincial parks going to and from the observation area, I guess. I don't know. Well, that's where it goes. What? Okay. I just got a text. I was looking to see what it was. Thankfully, nothing important. So, we're coming along here. There's as you can see you can see all the rocks sticking up out of the ground, and you probably saw the wood sticking up out of the ground back there at the beginning of the trail. This is not a wheelchair accessible trail. But there is one part up ahead where it says this side to the right, or to the left, is accessible, and to the right is not accessible. And when I got to that and I saw those signs, I turned to Steve and I said, well, it wasn't very bloody accessible at the start. How would you have even gotten down to this point in a wheelchair for you to decide which trail you're going to take? It would have been very difficult traversing that dirt part of the trail. Now that we're on the boardwalk, this would be easy. And Steve said we need to turn right, and I said, no, I'm going to turn left, and I walked into the bench. I said, see, I'm going left. And then I said, well, I guess I've got no choice but to go right. So I turned around and we went right. Of us being goofy. There's a bridge coming up here. And I regret to inform you that I did not pan the camera upwards to show you the entire scope of the bridge. And as I was reviewing this video and seeing that I did not do that, I kind of smacked myself for it, because it's quite a bridge. It's quite a thing to look at. Why am I getting another text? Yeah, okay, I got that text already. Leave me alone. That was my phone giving me a reminder that I had a text waiting. Yeah, I know. Anyway, none of these benches here are donated. So none of them have plaques on them saying in memory of anybody, like they did at Mission Island Marsh, and Centennial Park even, I think, had some of them. I can't remember now, but Mission Island Marsh was where I remember most of them being, and there's nothing like that here. None of them are donated. They're all just built by parks, which is why I said earlier, you know, the $2 parking fee, I call it a donation, because, you know, there's no parking meters, there's no person here to make sure you pay it, anything like that. So it's a donation if you choose to pay it. And that's why I was saying that $2 is, you know, paying it is actually a good thing to do, because that money goes towards maintaining the parks. Steve says, I don't care. I pay enough taxes that this should be covered already. And, you know, he might be right, because taxes could be divvied up better than they are. There's a lot of things that our taxes pay for that they shouldn't be paying for, and they could be going towards keeping up parks like this. So I kind of have to agree with him on that part. And just to the right there, I didn't focus on it, but, you know, that's where the ATV trail comes out. And this is a suspension bridge. It's not a very long one. And like I say, I didn't pan up to show you the full scope of it, and I'm sorry for that. I really should have. I wasn't thinking. But there's a look over the side here. Thankfully, my phone's on a gimbal, and it's a strong magnet, so I'm not going to lose my phone. That would really suck, because, you know, an iPhone 16 Pro Max is almost $2,000 nowadays, and I don't get subsidized for it. I buy it straight from Apple. So right up here at the end of this bridge is where the signs are, and you can see them now. I wasn't focusing on them. I don't think I paid much time to them, but see, the one says that it is wheelchair accessible going to the left, but to the right is not. And I say, well, the beginning of the trail wasn't very accessible, so how would you have gotten to this point in the first place? Anyway, I think we're almost there. No, we've got quite a ways to go yet, and I did cut the video a bit to spare you all of that. It's a really long walk from here, but I'll see you in a moment or two. See, I told you it wouldn't be long. And here we are. We're coming up to the observation platform now. There was a sign back there at the start of the bridge. If you're coming out like we were, it was the start of the bridge. The sign said observation pods. And I was like, pods? Really? These are pods? Doesn't look like any pod that I've ever seen. It's an observation platform, thank you. These signs here are very old. I remember them being here like 20 years ago. So I don't know if they're very accurate anymore. I didn't read everything it says on them anyway, but it's like two different theories about how the gorge was formed. And that's the Indian Head there. I'll show you that when I pan around. But see what I mean? This is actually a pretty wide and deep gorge, and the camera really doesn't do it justice. That's a pretty long drop there. What did I say earlier? It was 100 feet or 100 meters? I think it was 100 feet, right? I think so. Well, you can go back and see what it was. I think it was 100 feet. I'm not gonna do the search again on the interwebs. There's the Indian Head Rock Formation right there. right there in the middle. And then the rest of the canyon. And it's I believe it was 160 feet wide, and then 100 feet at its deepest point, and down there is where you find the plants that are only found there and in the Arctic Circle, 1,000 kilometers north of us. So that tells you a little something about the ecosystem at the bottom of the canyon. It's quite cold, and there's elements there that aren't found anywhere else, probably glacial elements. So, yeah, this is Ouimet Canyon. And you know, there's not really much else to do here. You make the hike all the way out here, you see the canyon, you turn around and go back home. And that's what we did, so we're coming up to the end of our Ouimet Canyon adventure. And I'll see you at the house. Hey folks, here I am. I'm back at the house now. You like my new shirt? It's pretty, isn't it? So, yeah, back at the house. It was a fun day. You know, my feet are a little sore, but I was wearing Skechers, so my feet aren't as sore as they could have been. Skechers hiking boots, as a matter of fact. So I think my feet are not as sore as they could have been had I just been wearing my running shoes. But yeah, it was a nice long drive. It was a good hike, and my gas gauge, the needle is about a millimeter or so below full. So I've actually got more gas now than when I started because of filling up at the Flying J. But I was expecting to go through that quarter tank, and I didn't. So that was pretty good. I guess that speaks well for the Honda Ridgeline. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm not going to sit here and babble on and on and on. Babylon, the Babylon Club. Yeah, so that's about it. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and God's willing, Daffy Duck willing, we'll see you all in the next video. Ciao for now.